let everybody get in. Check to make sure all the that guy copied over. All right, let's see if we can get some folks in here, and if everybody can hear me. I don't have my lap, so you're gonna have to. I can grab my laptop. That's the one thing I did not grab. We'll let some folks get in here while that's going. And
they're asking where the hat is.
The hat? Oh, I got a story for you. I got a story to tell on the hat. It's a sad story. Laptop set up.
So the hat story.
So the hat story.
So they love stories.
So story time before we start. So the hat is at the bottom of a roller coaster. I was riding the Screaming Eagle in St. Louis, and I went on it like 4 times in a row with my daughter, and we went to the back. And unfortunately, back's a little more aggressive on the out of the seat action, and the hat went flying off my head. So I have Six Flags trying like hell to find it for me. I said that hat is iconic and I need it back. So unfortunately, they do not let customers go venturing underneath the roller coaster, so I could not grab it. But hopefully their Lost and Found has it, and we'll see. So they got my information. They will only give it to me, so don't go try anything and get my hat. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but no hat. I did order another one just in case they can't find it, or if it got like ran over and shredded or something. It's a pretty sad face, so I do miss my hat. Looks like we got a few folks in here. Yeah, my laptop's catching up here. She's just like, just go. I'm letting a few folks get. Got 115. So tonight, what we're gonna go through, and it's glad to see you guys back. Back and joining us. It's been a few days. We haven't had one. Oh no, not the hat. And what I've been working on a few things, guys. So, short of the normal day job, I've been trying to get a simplified version of the batch script to mine a whole bunch of different coins with a whole bunch of different mining software. Here, let's go ahead and switch to this main screen, this screen here, and I'm going to kind of walk them through. So what we have here, and I have this in the description right now, so you can actually go and do this while we're going through it right now. This, I think, is going to be a big deal for folks that are kind of new and just have had trouble trying to get some of the coins set up and some of the syntax to work with some of the mining software. So this little mining folder here, which on our... Here, let me mute this, that way we don't get the feedback like normal. We're going to shut all that off. When you download this from the description, I gave 3 options here, because some folks do not, it's, you know, the old saying, friends don't let friends download binaries. So for the folks that follow that, I gave just the batch file, and I gave a text version of it. So if I come back into this guy here, pause that.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's within a file within. It's like All right, so down here in the downloads of the live stream, there's the full package, which includes all the mining software, which is this guy right here, which has all the latest miners out there. I mean, that's the majority of them for right now. So you got Claymore 9.6, we got Cryptonote from Claymore, the Zcash, the CCMiner, gominer, excavator, sgminer, the library version of that, another XMR version, ZC, you pretty much get it. So pretty much all the miner software here. That is what this first link is, along with the what I'm calling the BBT multi-miner batch script. So if we edit this, we go full screen here. This is essentially environment setup here. It echoes that on, echoes off, and then it shows you kind of instructions. So this is all of the different configurations already kind of plugged in here with all the syntax already kind of set up. So essentially all you'll do is you'll go in here, and where I have this REM, this remove, you'll just take whatever miner that you want to go, and let's go all the way down here to, this is an Nvidia setup, and actually I haven't even seen if this thing's even configured right. Let me look here. I just kind of built this setup, device manager. Does it see all of them? It does. This is a 6-card 1070. It's going to be a 7-card. I just didn't have the 7th card yet. 1070 build. It's stock clocks. I haven't done anything with it yet. So down here, let's just say like the CCMiners for library credits. Right now I have this first section here that you guys see is the folder, the subfolder for this, which is, it's just pointing to the different subfolders, right? So each of the miners have the subfolder, the executable, and then essentially whatever mining pool it's going to. So I try to make sure the mining pool that's going to, you can change the mining pool. So if you already have dwarf pool, you already have nano pool, any of that kind of stuff, you can change it just with the pool information, but this is good to go. So like if I come in here, make sure nothing is active right now, and I'll show you what I mean by active. I don't see any that I have all remove on everything right now, so nothing is active right now. So I'm going to come here just on this line, and I'm going to get rid of just this remove here. I'm going to bring that to the front of the list. I'm going to save the file, and we're going to launch it. It goes through, pushes that, and now it's mining. This machine's mining library coin. So yeah, I did not put nice hash in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a kind of a list from everybody, what other miners that they want to see in here. But now this machine is running. This is the base stock clocks on these. I haven't modified any of these 1070s at all yet. So it looks like this machine's doing library at 1700 when it's just base stock. Go ahead and just modify this for a real quick minute. Just to give it a little bump. About 650. I'll go ahead and bump up the core too, just because we're going to be doing some coins that have. And I don't even know if these settings will work. I'm going to leave the power right now. We'll adjust that in a little bit. So if we get back in the mining software here, we come all the way down to the bottom again. Each of them I try to tag if it's Nvidia or if it's AMD or if it does both. So you guys should be able to download that. I pay for the upload.io, so I mean it should be unlimited right now for folks. We do have Ethermine in there at the top.
You're saying Chrome's blocking your download.
Chrome's blocking a download. Download it in Mozilla. Ethermine's at the top, guys. Right here. Optimize Ethermine, so don't freak out. You just put the remove back on REM back on that list. If you want to go to another one, like let's say the Nvidia EWBF miner, you just come back over here. You get rid of that one spot there for the ZEC. This is for Hush, so I actually put Hush out there too. I did a few basic coin, the ones that you guys have asked for. I put Hush in there. It's got Pascal coin, Zcash, library. I got a pretty much a SIA coin, Decred. We try to cover a lot of the major coins right now. So if I close this one out just to show you an example on this, and then double click this, it automatically launches the EWBF now Zcash. Now that says Zcash is actually hush because that's the pool that it's going to. Firefox that will not block your download. So yeah, you guys can't use Chrome's blocking it, but this will. I just wanted to walk you guys through kind of how to manipulate the batch file. We're going to expand this to have a lot more coins, like Feather Coin, and pretty much anything that can be mined. I'm going to try to put in there, and various versions of that. That way, it's like a one-stop shop. If you guys take the full download, you already have all the mining software in there. If you just take the bat file, then you just got to modify the location, the path of where your miners are at. I put them all into one folder. These were all built from source. And then we just package this back up and put it back out there for everybody. Again, if you don't want to download binaries, that's perfectly fine. That's why the batch file's out there. You can, and I even put the text file out there for people that didn't want to download batch files. So I try to simplify it for everybody.
They're all looking for nice hash.
Nice hash is, we did not put nice hash in there. I can put nice hash in there. And we'll modify that tonight and make a modification to it. I will tag the description and once I put nice hash in there. But yeah, it has, there's, which one's that one? That one's the EWBF. Zcash. It looks like this machine's almost 3,000. That's not bad. These things are rocking. Almost 3,000 solds on these 1070s. So we'll close that. We'll come back in here. It already does the environment settings. I'm going to be adding some more stuff as I see it, but the Xmr. So like we'll come back in here, and what happens, guys? Like I'll show you here where I have this Nvidia EWBF miner for hush open right now, where it says remove. If I came in here and forgot to put the remove on that command line and did one above it, the way the batch works is the first one it hits, it's going to go through. So if you're like trying to enable something and you just it keeps mining something else, you more than likely did not hit the remove on that. So you just need a REM, space it once. And it's fine if you don't have it in full screen and you kind of collapse it on your screen depending on your thing. If it goes like this and it collapses some of the command line into another line, it's okay. You don't need to remove that line. Don't add any remove lines in there. If you do that, it will probably break the batch file because actually it's inserting it somewhere in the line. This is a single command line, so we're just removing those single command lines, and then it's got a header above it. And the double star asterisks there are kind of the dividing the different mining pools that we have out there. So if I come back up here towards the top, NVIDIA only, because this is an NVIDIA only rig, and let's say I want to do XMR. Again, this is to the nano pool. I close that out, and we could just save this and close it again. Now you're seeing it just launch an XMR. So now this is going to do, give me a little block count warning because we didn't set that for this particular card. So you have to do some adjustments on some of them based on the kind of cards that you have. But it will start mining this. You can see it's doing XMR right now. Again, you're also going to need your other environmental settings set up for some of these to where you're going to want to go out there and set your virtual memory up high enough to support some of the coins. But this is essentially it. I'm going to be taking feedback from folks of what to add. We're putting down nice hash to add to it. But hopefully it should get you guys really started on, at least a start. If you want to have your own mining set up, you can actually add things to this line. Essentially all I've done is you can come in here and copy this entire, just a section like this. I usually take the two asterisks there and just the entire line. You can copy that whole line, come down below here, add it to the bottom, and then make your changes. Add a different pool. You could have your different pools for the same coins. You know, so if I wanted to have this bottom one for the AMD sgminer for library credits, I could have coinmine.pl and I could have nanopool, or I could have you know, any of the other pools. Like that same line here copied 3 times with just changing the pool. You know, that way if one pool's down, you can send your hash to another. These lines that are set up like this, these particular ones, when I had them in a full string, they weren't working, so I had to set them in separate lines. You got to remove, so there's only 2 of them like this, that one and this one, the Zcash Claymore one. It really wanted to have line breaks in there, so you just got to remove each of these lines. So if we come in here, and I'll show you an example of that. Let me come up here, make sure we're all removed. I think I have everything removed. Yep. So we'll come up here to this Claymore. That's AMD. These are AMD. So it's AMD only. I mean, I can remove them. It's not going to work because it's AMD. It will give me an error, but essentially you're doing this line here, pull it to the front, don't delete the C. You're doing each of these like this. This is going to launch, but it's going to air out because there's no AMD cards in this. But if you come in here and just do those lines there, it's the main command line. You save it, you launch it, it's going to launch, and then it's going to come up and it's going to say, hey, there's no AMD cards here, sorry, exiting. And then it's going to close out. So you come back in there and you want to remove that out. REM. I'm going to add these back in. It's really just kind of controlling a single batch file. This is only for Windows right now. We're going to take kind of a poll if I'm going to assume the answer that people are going to want this for Linux too. We just haven't done the Linux version of it. Could be a little better with some prompts and parameters. So it has. Well, yeah, I mean, it could be, I could script it to do everything for you, but I mean, what I would say is, I mean, over time, we can add in maybe some features like that, but it's a start. It's really just making it convenient for people that don't know how to go in there and adjust the pools and the mining pools, and you know, it already has the right syntax in there, so that works. All you're replacing is the pool and your worker information. Technically, you could even leave the worker information in there and just use the same worker just under your login or your address. So with a lot of concern with the hash rate that Ethereum has right now, with a huge, difficult level, and you got your single miners with just one rig and they're wanting to point their stuff somewhere, in here we have the ETC, so you got Ethereum Classic in here, you got, just Scicoin. Coming down here, there's just ETC by itself, there's Scicoin and ETC. Just Pascal, so if you just wanted to use Pascal, you can come in here, remove those, or Pascal coin rather, the nanopool, save this, launch it, and now you're just mining Pascal. So you don't have to dual mine if you just wanted to put all your hash power to it, because eventually, in the future, whenever proof of stake does come around, you're going to be just mining certain coins, and then there'll be probably some forks and threads to do not just Ethereum, but Pascal and something else at the same time. Have we tried, I'm looking at some of the comments, have we tried DBIX? No, we haven't put DBIX in there yet. I'm going to take, what I'm going to ask folks to do is, make comments on this post and tell us which, I'm going to take kind of a poll. What I would ask is, if you see somebody post like add DBIX, just give it a thumbs up. If somebody's already added, don't just keep adding comments to say, hey, add DBIX, or add whatever. Just keep thumbing up, and what we're going to do is we're going to take a lot of those thumbs up, and we'll modify this and then make it out on our bitsbetrippin.com. We'll put it out there as a post so you guys can have the latest and greatest batch file. So I guess the real question is this kind of stuff helping you guys? You guys, you know, for some of the folks that are new, I mean, most of the miners that have been doing it for a while kind of already have maybe a setup like this, and it's not really doing much for them. But if this is value added, that's what we're trying to do, is simplify it. Again, you could download this and download your own files in here, your own miner versions. You know, hit edit, and then just right here ahead of the miner, as long as it's in the same folder, you know, that's just the path. So that's just getting you into each folder here. So you need to have that. And batch files don't like spaces, so you're going to have to put like an underscore or a dash or something to complete that path out. You can put a %, but I just do underscore or a dash or something like that in the spaces. Just give it a full path and then point it to the miner, and then it's just like any other your batch files right there. So that's kind of the trick to it.
Do you want just random questions, or you still want questions focused on this?
I mean, we can take some questions from folks. I mean, we'll do questions for a little bit here. I mean, we're gonna try to see really what else needs to be added. I mean, we'll do that through the comments, but we'll see what people want to talk about, and then I was just gonna get in here and modify this rig and just see what it can do, and then we'll just close out this episode. I just wanted to make sure folks had this, just because right now most of the questions I get from, I mean, the last few questions have been really around, you know, if ETH goes to POS, how, or the difficulty so high because they went in and bought them, you know, they ordered cards and they showed up late, and now, like, when they were doing the benchmark of how much they're going to try to make to get some ROI on it, it's now a lot lower. So, you know, what are some other coins that they could hedge on or actually get some quantitative coins on? You know, and we're talking like SIA coin or LBRY or something that you can actually attain some coins onto cred, and trying to walk people through on how to set that syntax up in that pool has been interesting. So I was just like, you know what, I've gotten enough of these questions. I'm just going to make a basic batch script that has them all in there. Most of the mining, one of the people asked, is what's a mine accurate? I mean, it's accurate as that stuff could change daily. It's very super predicated on price. When difficulty for each of the coins retarget, things change. So it's something that you just kind of have to keep up with.
Someone asked earlier if power is not an option between 1080s, 1070s, or 1060s, which has the best hash.
The best hash to power ratio right now to cost is the 1060. I mean, if the 570s were still at the same price that they were originally, it would be a 570 from AMD. But I mean, there's a lot of concern with the AMD. You know, we had put out a few weeks ago that or at least a week ago, that the sgminer was not affected by the Pascal change. There's a lot of folks coming back saying that no, from what their testing is, it still is also. I've reached back out to AMD to ask them, you know, hey, if you have a working copy of sgminer, I mean, how did you test it to have confidence to say that it's not affected? I have not got a response back from them. The moment we do, we'll make it known for folks. But right now, and if you could get RX, you know, 570s and 580s back, what the prices used to be around 250, they're the best right now. It's not just about Ethereum. I mean, there's a lot of other coins out there that take advantage of that hardware. I haven't seen DBIX Yeah, we haven't done anything with DBIX yet. It seems a lot of people are asking about it though. I mean, Hush was the stuff talked about in the last couple weeks. Now I guess it's DBIX. But we can add that. I mean, that's why I put Hush in there, just because we had a lot of people asking us questions about Hush, and I just added it to the batch file. $1080 Ti's, I don't think do. I haven't tested a 1080 Ti for at least 8 months. I don't even actually have one here anymore. I'd have to get one to test it, but it was not doing too well last I remember checking. It's just like the RX 280Xs, our R9 280Xs. They're you know, the toxic versions were pumping out 21 mega hash, and now they're down to like 13.
If you mine lots of different coins, do you need lots of different wallets?
So most of these you can set up to the exchange, like Pascal and stuff have it to where you can do it straight to the exchange, like Poloniex. But yeah, if you want to hold them locally, you got to get their wallets. You just look up the coins, like SIA coin, all them. They all have wallets that are local. You got to download the full chains. I mean, you can fill up pretty quick, you know, a disk with all these full chains. I don't leave them running personally. So like I have all the local chains on a couple of the computers. We get them up, we let them sync, we have coins go to them, but we keep them offline most of the time, just because I don't want the traffic sitting on the network the whole time with open connections and just sitting there, just saturating the connection. If you have like 8 wallets open, all those daemons connected, and all the amount of TCP connections that they have connected can really saturate your router, especially if you don't have a good router. Thank Magic Hawk for the $1 super chat. You got a question? Nice Ash is one of the 1080s, yeah. DBIX using the Ethereum algorithm, it says on my GTX 1080. Yeah, I don't know anything about DBIX yet. Trying to copy. I'll have to look at it. If it's at Epoch 1, yeah, the DAG file's way low. So you should be able to use a 2 gig card on it for quite a long time. The Ubuntu, there's not, so here's the deal with Nvidia, and I mean, somebody can prove me wrong on this. The overclocking in Nvidia when it comes to Linux is not non-existent, but not stable from what I've seen. I have a few, we had somebody send us an alpha build of an overclocker that they're trying to use with Linux, and it just was not stable. I had to use Nvidia with Windows just to do some solid overclocks. So I wish I had a better answer for you right now. I have not found one that's real stable to do overclocking in Linux. And that's as of last week. The world changes fast, so I don't know if there's a new version out there. Hots Bob Sackett dropping a $2 hotspot. What's up, buddy? Can you explain miner fees? Like dev fees? Most of the dev fees have a built-in, like Claymore has a built-in fee. Most of those are posted. So if you run for 24 hours and they have a 2.5% dev fee, 2.5% of what you're mining from the share count is going to the dev. I have tried this Nvidia super simple mining build. It's just I can't overclock, so I don't use it. Overclocking is kind of critical for these cards because there's a pretty significant difference. I mean, you're talking almost 7 mega hash on like a 1070, 6 to 7 mega hash difference between overclocking this and not overclocking it per card. So I mean, you're talking that's a full card worth of mega hash that's not being used if you don't overclock it. So on like a 6 card build. So you know, if we come in here and we'll do some ETC. I haven't done ETC in a while. Save that, let that run.
Why isn't there a BBT pool yet?
Why isn't there a BB2 pool? Because we're trying to get a lot of other things. I still haven't got that damn website done. I got several people working on it. We're trying to make it cool, and I'm trying to get it to beta. That's first, and then maybe we'll talk BBT pool.
You're saying Simple Mining just released a beta with overclocking for Nvidia's?
I'll recheck Simple Mining with the overclocking. It's probably a lot of the same overclocking alpha that I've been working with. Well, I didn't like something there.
You've got another super chat question.
Did we have this overclocked? I think we did. Well, I didn't like that overclock.
Did you see that? The blue?
No.
Oh.
RX 460, 4 gig. Yes. Absolutely viable for all those. It'd be a little slow with Zcash, but the 4 gig model can mine all of those that you listed.
With a BBT pool, we could rule the world, they say.
The rule the world. I've had a few people wanting to set up a pool with us and manage it. It's just I got to make sure that I want to get the site up. We have a lot planned for the site, from the GPU database, what to mine, kind of a calculator that's built into it too. This multi-miner thing was kind of a vision with having a repository to make sure that all the folks that are building miners have kind of a centralized place to host them. I mean, we got a lot going on with the website that we're trying to get built. That first, and then maybe we'll get into a mining pool. Let's see here. Let's look at the overclocks on this, because I don't think that was too aggressive.
There was a super chat there, and VOC is perfectly stable with OC.
On whose?
Green.
Let's do 600.
You can just
These
click
should be
it
a lot
at the
better.
top of the chat.
Yeah. NVOC is perfectly stable with overclock. Well, I'll check and look events and see. I just hadn't had a lot of luck with the few distros that we were using. We'll go back and look at that. And if it is super stable, because when we're building this for the Linux side, I want to make sure that you guys have some good options in there for the Nvidia. See if this thing can not reboot on me this time.
Are 1080 Ti's worth the extra premium if 1070s are sold out or overpriced?
1080 Ti's. 1080 Ti's is kind of hedging for the future is what the 1080 Ti is doing. It's super expensive. So if you're looking for a quick ROI, you're probably not going to get it. The thing about 1080 Ti is you're going to have some of the highest hash rates across the board for most of everything that you're going to touch. And it's one of those things that if you're looking at the long-term play, you're looking at a year out, That's essentially what it's going to take you practically to get a full rig of 1080 Ti's paid off, provided this thing is not liking that overclock. Or I have one card that's not stable, one of the two. Yeah, this is a fresh, these were brand new cards, so I haven't even, we just built this, put this in there. This actually had a whole bunch of these classifieds in there, but I got the 1070s came in, so I wanted to put those in there and see what they could do. And I probably got one card or a riser that's just not playing ball here. You know, we got one 1080 Ti rig, but you know, it's, I mean, the ROI on it right now is like 9 months.
$1070 or $580?
The which one? 1070 or 580?
Yeah.
If you can find a 580, I mean, you're going to mine other things other than Zcash or other than Ethereum with it. The 580 is probably a good play. The 1070 is almost twice the cost. So the 1070 has a lot of, I mean, this is what a 1070 rig here is right now. I'll tell you what, I'm going to just see if this is something with the risers of why it keeps rebooting on me. I'm just going to set it back to default.
You've got another super chat from John.
Let's try that. I'll answer, John. Hold on, buddy. I mean, the 1070, is it worth dual mining SIA and ETH? With dev fees going from 1 to 2%. If you exit on Claymore with the dev fees going. I mean, yeah, I mean, SIA is a good play in the long run. I mean, it's got a really good, or at least a really good concept of an idea going forward. We're personally now mining some SIA in LBRY. I love the concept of LBRY being not necessarily a direct competitor of like something like YouTube, but being able to be the video side of the curator and be able to put stuff up there and let people get paid directly for their stuff. Between SIA and LBRY, I mean, it's a real good toss-up.
But with the dev fees going up, does that...
I mean, the devs got to get paid too. I mean, the software's for... right now, they're spending time and effort on doing it. I mean, what's the difference between 1 and 2%? I mean, you can set a / no fee and pay them no fee and take a 5% hit on your hash rate if you don't want to pay the dev fee. And it's all a math problem. Is if you're is it blowing on the?
Yeah, they can't hear, and I can't do it.
Here we got a down an error. I'll hit that. Make sure we're relined back up. We literally have like a downspout thing with air coming out of it. Air conditioner vent right above that camera there. Yeah, it must be just a bad memory on one of these. I'll have to identify which one of these are having the problem. Set it to 500. Let's try that. Any info on the Nvidia mining cards? No, not for the US. I've tried. We ordered the 12 GPU board from BioStar, and the place that we ordered it from out of Hong Kong, it still hasn't left customs yet. I mean, like, it's who knows when I'm going to get that board, but they had some access to some of those cards, but they said that right now they weren't shipping to the US. So I don't think anybody in the US has them unless they've been able to kind of pick them up somewhere when they're out of town and bring them back through. But nothing for the US if you're US based.
We've done some videos on the 1050 Ti's, right? They're not horrible.
I just
right?
rebooted. I don't think this is the cards. I think this is that power supply. Because it just tripped. I'm going to look and see what this thing's pulling. It should not be touching that AX 1500, but that AX 1500 just tripped. I could hear it click. Might have a bad AX 1500. Yeah, we pay the dev fee too. I've never not paid a dev fee. I look at it as the cost of doing business. I want to keep them fed and hungry, you know, fed and not hungry. If they make some serious coin on it, I mean, that's great for them. If they're putting out good quality product that keeps it stable for us and keeps it on the latest new coins and new options and stuff, I mean, they're providing a service. Who am I or who are we to say what he can do? We can judge that by using a different miner. Or if somebody has the skill sets to go in and program their own, I mean, that's what it is. I mean, if it's like fleecing and stuff, people are just not going to use it. I mean, we pay the 2%. Usually if I'm doing a, you know, some of the pools, I'll give an extra 1% to a pool because it's helping them out. You know, it's all about that margin play. And since 2011, since mining started, you'll have these periods where a lot of people kind of get into it, they start mining with it, and they're in it right away to try to get their ROA back out of it, which makes total sense. I mean, it's just economically, you're trying to get your money back, especially if you're borrowing that money. You're going to want to pay that off as quick as you can because you don't want to incur interest because that's just additional fees on top of it. But, you know, some of this is a long play. I mean, if you look at the different cycles between 2011 to mid-2012, throughout 2012, it stayed around $100. Bitcoin did. You had a spike at the end of 12 into 13. You had a huge spike at the end of 13 into 14. You know, so if you've been mining for a while, it paid very well. I mean, I had a couple jalapenos from Butterfly Labs, and I mean, those things initially didn't look like they were going to pay themselves off, and you know, just a lot of them kept mining, and they did. I mean, those were about $400, I believe, and those things mined a couple Bitcoin. So, you know, that was a good $800 investment. It's one of those things. I mean, you guys are upholding the network. That's why hedging some of the coins are really good. You know, if any of them take any kind of critical mass lift, then it was worth that mining, even if it was very unprofitable in the beginning. Which is going to offset any of those dev fees that you're paying for. Let's look here. I got a couple super chats when I pay homage to the people.
Another one from John and then Magic.
Can I use two miners at the same time, ethmine, and one for Claymore on Nvidia? I've used two miners at the same time against different cards. If I have like 4 cards Nvidia and then a couple cards AMD, you can target the different cards. Some miners you can, or some coins you can mine twice, you know, like with Ethereum and SIA and those if you have Claymore. But you're going to have to more than likely target the particular card. If you try to start 2 miners, it'll lock that resource. Most of the time it'll just crash the miner because the resource is locked from initially sending jobs to it. So you gotta split it. You know, I see that with some of the Nvidia AMD mix setups that people have. I've had people send me messages saying, you know, how can I mine on 4 and then mine on 2 with the other another miner, and it's just going in there and tagging which GPUs that you want each miner to do. So you can run them both at the same time. Rarely can you run them both against against the same card because you'll end up getting some kind of conflict, or especially if you have like Zcash and Ethereum there for a little bit, you could mine both on the same card. But now that the memory map is, and both of them use a lot of memory, they're now at that point to where they're exceeding the miner's ability to allocate memory, and it just ends up blowing up. I can't get my M2 ports working on my Z270A. Magic Hawk. So you can send me for that super chat. Just send me an email on bitsbetrippin@gmail.com. Just put in there that you did a super chat, and I'll get you answered. I got a couple ideas for you to make sure that you can get those enabled. I don't even know what shirt I was wearing today. Renewable energy, I'm a big fan. So NiceHash is pulling 6%. I didn't even look to see what NiceHash is. I don't use really NiceHash. We'll use it to benchmark sometimes, but I don't personally use NiceHash right now. They have a little more overhead than folks with building an application, the front end, the whole 9 yards that they're doing. Buy 10 M2 adapters, one will work. You know, I have a whole box of them. We haven't tried to use any of them because I just haven't getting enough cards lately. I kind of pre-planned that I was going to need a lot, and I just haven't had to run into any.
Most common things that need to be replaced within a rig.
Risers. Next question. Most common thing in rigs, I mean, I've ran through more risers than you can believe. Usually if you have a perfectly running rig and it's ran for about 3 months or so, or even a couple weeks, and everything's just running great, and then it stops and then it just stops working successfully, a couple things usually are your problem. One, there's probably a riser or something has happened to the riser to where it's just made the card unstable. I always replace the riser first. I try to identify which card's having the problem. You'll get like errors like GPU hung in the miner. It'll say like, you know, GPU 5 is hung or stopped working. Now, you can get that right away after you mod a GPU, and it's probably something that with the mod or an overclock setting or something of that nature. But usually I'll replace the riser just in case. And then you got to look and see if maybe if you're running close to the max of this PSU, you might be burning up your PSU and it's not near as efficient anymore. It can't handle the load, and you got a rail that's just dying off on you to where one of the rails are just not putting out enough power anymore, and it just kills it. Usually, it's really hard to test that. I usually just put a different PSU in it just to see if it restabilizes it, and then you can return the PSUs have great warranties on them. But try to keep the PSU, you know, not to where if you have a 1200 watt PSU and you're running 1200 watts, you're probably going to burn it up over time. You're going to want to keep it to where it's well under it, or just split it to 2 PSUs and you have more than enough overhead. I'm going to get this thing fired back up again and find out why the hell it's dying on me. Why we're answering some questions.
I'm looking to drop 10,000 into this at the end of next week. Your thoughts? Build rigs for longevity or just purchase coins?
It just depends. I mean, I'm always a rig type of person. I mean, this is a rig type of channel. Rigs are hedges. Rigs are always hedges. I always hear the same, you know, people are like, oh, I could have put this much into coin and I would have had this much more when it lifted. We could have done the same thing in the stock market on a hot company that we didn't know that was going to be successful. The rig is a hedge. The rig has always been a hedge and always will continue to be a hedge. These assets have other purpose besides mining. So if you end up purchasing a rig and you get, you know, there's certain points in time where you can get good deals on things. Right now, everything's really elevated with regards to the cost of the cards and stuff, but the cards and all that stuff is still worth money. If you do it for a little bit and it's just not your thing, you know, there's some people that got in kind of early and then they didn't realize the difficulty would rise the way it did, and they're like, you know what, I want out, and they've sent us messages saying, this is crazy, I bought this equipment thinking that I was going to take a hit on it, you know, and they were able to get cards at like 280, and just because the market demand's still very high right now, they made money on just selling their equipment. That's what I mean by a hedge. So if you have $10,000, you want to go, you plan for the long term on it, plan that it's going to take you a year plus to make your money. You know, the calculators may be telling you it's going to take you 4 months, but plan for a year. If it comes back faster than that because price goes up, lucky you, lucky everybody, right? But plan for a year on the repayment at a basic notional. You know, get the rig, and then at the end of a year, if you're done just mining and you want to just now you feel comfortable and understand crypto enough that you just want to dabble and trade the crypto, you can still divest your rig. If the next new hot coin that's only mineable through GPUs is out there, kind of like Ethereum came through after everybody thought everything was done with mining, when Script kind of got replaced by ASICs and, you know, the other Blake and other NeoScript and all the other currencies that like Vertcoin and Feathercoin and all that stuff really didn't hold any muster with it coming to store value. It kind of died off a little bit. There were still some people mining, you know, what they could, which ended up paying very forward once the whole scene kind of rejuvenated with the rise of Ethereum. The equipment always still, I mean, there's folks that have made a killing on their old 290s and a lot of that old mining equipment if they just held on to it. So it's a hedge. It's an asset that's used for other things, and you can resell it. So I've always been a proponent of mining rigs, purely predicated on that it is a hedge. That if something critical came down and everything went to proof of stake the next day, you still have some value add in the equipment versus ASICs. I mean, that's all the number one question most of the time when people come in and say, hey, why aren't you gonna have a whole bunch of script ASICs doing Litecoin? Man, that would have paid off greatly. You know, if you got script ASICs 7-8 months ago and you've been mining Litecoin, you're probably doing pretty well with the Litecoin that's sitting at $50. But that equipment becomes a boat anchor. I mean, back in our storage, I have a 2.5 terahash. Oh hell, I don't even know which one that is. It's a Bitcoin miner, but it uses way too much power. I think it's the Spondulis. Like SP31 or something. So I mean that thing's a boat anchor. Like I can't. It's not worth it plugging in right now, right? So to where the old 290s and 280Xs and stuff that we had, that stuff was still worth a lot of money. I mean, by comparison to what we originally bought it for. So that's a long-winded answer for building mining rigs. And yeah, plus we try to make it fun. I mean, here's to show this little camera here and kind of show this kind of build. So this build here, you know, I mean, did a little black down here. It's got the red, you know, it's an MSI build. You know, took the little insert out of the box of the EVGA, kind of put that up there and sprayed the EVGA on it. You know, it's kind of cool to build them. They look cool. You know, I don't know. I've enjoyed the hardware aspect of it. Now this 1500i is probably way overkill. Let's just leave it on this one real quick. Or you can switch it back. So I was looking for something that I put somewhere else. My cool new toy, which I don't know what happened to it. It's in the front there. You know, they're pretty cool. So I'm gonna jump subjects on you real quick. So one of the cool things I was going to show you guys tonight too is we picked up a FLIR. This is a thermal imaging camera. So I wanted to see where the mining rig is getting a lot of heat at. Let's go ahead and hit this down to 400. Let's see if we can get this thing to pop again. And then I'll show you guys a kind of a close-up of the thermal imaging camera. It's pretty friggin' sweet. So we can kind of, let's see here, let's get where the
You just want to get me in the camera, don't you?
Huh? Oh, you're in there? What's the problem? You've been in the camera before. You go full screen on this, on the mini camera. So this is thermal imaging, so I can go through and
back up a little bit. Too close.
kind of let you guys see where the heat is coming from as it starts to get resettled. These things are kind of glowing. But as it gets a little warmer, I can take the shots, and you guys will actually see the VRMs and, you know, and if I hold that down, it'll lock that image in place, and I can kind of start to see really where the heat's coming from. Let's get back to the back here. You guys can kind of see as these things start to warm up. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a bigger episode of this where I'm going to do a deep dive of really once we start cooling things and showing the different cooling of the cards, where a lot of the heat's coming from.
Yeah.
Was that way too close?
It doesn't focus.
There we go. You know, we can kind of come underneath the rig and kind of see, you know, it's only inside the rest of the mining rig stays pretty cool. Oh, we can switch back to the other camera. But I'm going to do a better review of this across a whole bunch of different rigs, and then kind of show you guys, you know, really once we do some proper cooling on it, of how much we can reduce temperatures with different cooling techniques, with actually having a fan around it, over it, under it, and then just see kind of what the better cooling piece is. And then we'll take it into a couple other spots that we have where we have like an air conditioning duct into it and stuff, and we can really see that the change between a rig just sitting on a table, a rig sitting in front of a fan, a rig sitting next to an air conditioner, and then really see that dissipation of the different rig designs too, between like this design, and we have a couple other designs where we have the cards kind of separated, and then some that are hanging vertically. We have a couple that are on racks, so I'll take some shots of that. So hopefully that'll be value added to you guys, you know, to see it from an actual thermal image. Yeah, I got that Reptile Gaming. We'll take a look at your email. And then we'll be able to start checking the thermals on other, you know, different mining cards and the different builds.
Is it worth adding a fan? We keep box fans on all our rigs, don't we?
Yeah, I put a box fan pretty much on literally almost every rig. I mean, I have these ones kind of turned off right now, but I'll keep fans on those, and the ones that are off-site, those all have fans too. So this machine right now, with no underclocking right now, is at 900 watts. So that, well within that boxes, or that 1500's ability. Oh, and it just went back off again. This power supply is clicking when that happens. So I'm thinking that I have a bad power supply here. So I'm gonna have to switch that power supply out and then juice them up.
What's your opinion on SATA risers or using a SATA adapter? Or is that safe to use?
SATA risers, SATA adapter. So like the SATA splitters?
I don't know.
This is all SATA risers right here. So on the little camera, you guys should be able to see. These are the version 7S. And short of a few that I had problems with, they've been running fine. I mean, I've had this batch that we've had about eight or nine go out, which is not good. I mean, out of like 100. So I mean, that's like 10% fail rate. That's like absolutely horrible. But by and large, most risers that I run into, they're all kind of the same story. They're just not super. I mean, none of the product on these risers, I have not found. I've been trying to get a riser company to where I could put our logo on there and I could store some of them, guys. This was the first attempt to make sure that I ordered a big bulk of them to see if I could get ones with enough quality that I'd want to put our name on it and then be able to facilitate and give you guys, you know, the 10-pack deal that we were talking. But I mean, I'd be giving you a 10-pack just to hope that 6 of them worked. And you know, I want better quality than that. So we're trying to work with a couple vendors right now to send us out another set of samples. And I asked them, I'm like, just send me 10, and if all 10 work, maybe we'll go with you guys. And then we'll do a bigger order and then have like a BBT logo on there and stuff, and they'll be branded versions that, you know, we've at least tested and had them to make sure that we're stable enough to not break or pop. I'm gonna shut this down.
What difference?
And I'm gonna switch this power supply up.
Does different cases make when you're mining? You know, the gray matter over building your own, over wood, over aluminum. Does it make a difference?
I think from just our testing, we did build one time a build that was all wood, and it was a lot hotter. Like the temperature just didn't have anywhere to go. I think a lot of it had to do with the base, and it's surprising how much temperature transfers over to this. You know, kind of like a heat pipe. When you have the cards mounted up against this front bar starts to really take on a lot of heat. You can cool that front bar, and it seems to drop the temps a little bit. There was about a couple degree difference between a wood one and an angled aluminum case. It wasn't hugely significant, but it was noticeable. Additionally, you know, this is only 1 inch thick, or you know, 1 inch by 1 inch here. Versus using wood, if you use the thinner set wood, the wood really kind of flexes and bows, where this doesn't flex and bow. The biggest change was taking this up to 11, almost 12 inches in height. We used to do 9, and that was just way too much heat was getting caught underneath. So having this at 11 inches gets the cards up enough to where you can get some good spacing. We extended this to do the 7 card builds. We actually do this, I believe this is 29 or 20 or 28 inch. I don't have, I'm looking for my measuring tape, and I think it's out. We were building another rig. So this is actually 27 and a half. We used to do 26 and a half. We added an additional inch, and just to get able to get the 7th card in, and these have 2 inch spacings. That seems to be a real good amount too. That's enough cooling to where you really don't need to have another fan on there, but I don't like running the fans on the cards more than about 27%. You know, 27-30% is the max I want these fans running on this card. So that's why we use outer cooling, and then the cards last forever. I mean, we have a whole list of 290X cards, the Tri-X 290Xs that are still to this day running, fans still working and all that, and it all is due to having those cards, you know, have some kind of extra cooling on them, so they're not stressing out the fans on the cards. Like, it really gets you the longevity of the cards. I'm going to pull this power supply back here, and while we're talking, I'm answering questions. I'm going to switch this out and just validate that this AX 1500 is going out, or it's actually a brand new AX 1500, fresh from the box. This would be about the 3rd Corsair that I've replaced. Corsair's about done. I'm about done with Corsair, because I seem to keep losing their stuff. And I don't know if you guys have experience with Corsair, or had some bad experiences with Corsair, but I just seem to be really running out, or running through their, this thing's like spaghetti. Running through a lot of their power supplies lately. I've had a few other ones. I had an 860, AX 860 go out on me also lately, and that was on a dual 860 build, so we had 2 860s in there. This is an old faithful here. This is the 1600 T2 titanium EVGA. I have a handful of these still left that have been just workhorses, and I've not had any issues with them. So I'm gonna pull.
Who's better than Corsair?
Huh?
Who do you like better than Corsair?
EVGA Supernovas. The Supernova Series ABGA. You know, I've actually had a lot of good luck with Thermaltake too. The new Thermaltake series, they seem cheaper, like a cheaper looking power supply. They don't have the powder coating. They kind of have the back of them looks kind of chintzy and cheap, but I mean they've just been rock solid. I haven't had any go out on me. They've been solid. I've had 4 or 5 Corsairs go out on me. So it's just I don't know what it is with Corsair. That's a big boy there.
What is your ideal spacing between GPUs on a rig?
2 inches.
People are having questions about electrical upgrades and such. You know, do you contact an electrician?
Well, it depends what you're doing. I mean, if you're not comfortable with putting in installing your own electric, then yes, contact an electrician. If you have space in a box and it's near where your rigs are going to be, you can use kind of a, on GPU Shack, they have, well, you can't see it back there with the APC bar. We were actually going to do a video on that, and I owe you guys a video on that. We never did the video on the 30 amp connection. I need to rewrite that down, and I need to do that video on that 30 amp. These are all SATA risers. Not as easy as I was going to make it there. I'm going to pull this power supply while we're talking. We're going to put this other power supply in here and make sure, and we kind of troubleshooting a rig right here in front of you guys. Some of the fun that you guys get to deal with whenever you're building a rig is sometimes you get all these brand new parts and you still have a problem. This is what happens sometimes. Not every build's this way, but some builds are. Some builds are, and I mean sometimes you just get defects in the system. I mean it's just, you get a defect power supply, just doesn't really hold a load very well. I mean that thing was holding about 900 watts and then it was clicking. That is not a I wasn't getting a blue screen. I wasn't having the miner shut down on me. It was just hard rebooting. Most of the time, if you have a hard reboot like that, it just outright stops and reboots the computer, doesn't give you a blue screen, that usually indicates some kind of power issue. And you're going to have to, it's really good. I mean, if you do multiple rigs, it's nice because you'll have some extra hardware. If you're doing one rig, it kind of sucks because now you got to run back, especially if it's far from where you live. I know there's some people's questions we've answered. You know, they kind of explain the problem that they're having, some of the troubleshooting techniques that they did, and then you know when I say, oh, you're going to have to try a different power supply, that's not the best answer I like to give. It just really comes down to what the rig is doing. Like this one having the issues that it is having. Seems like it's not, the PSU is not really taking much of a load without popping. We got just about everything. This has a lot of cables. Again, this was a fresh build, or fresh out of the box 1500.
Mining rig with a water cooling loop. Has anyone done that yet? I know you had the water cooling cards that one time.
Yeah, so we've done water cooled cards like the hybrid cards. The problem is the hybrid cards get super hot. I mean, like the 295X2, I did a 3-card build, which was a pain in the butt to get 3 of them to work on one board. And that just keeping them cool. So the tubes get really, really hot. I mean, you're going to have those things like almost too hot to touch. The problem is the radiators and all that are not really designed to keep up with some of the output of, like, you know, a GPU maxed out. I mean, they will work, but the longevity is questionable. I would really like to see somebody like a Jay's 2 cents or something get a sponsored build from somebody, because I know he's not going to spend the money on that. He's got other things to spend money on. But get you know, one of his custom cool closed loop designs, you know, with a real high-end radiator, and just see what's in the realm of possible of how much cooling they can get it down to. I know that there's some people, when I go out to Micro Center to buy cards, sometimes there's a few guys that go out there in the St. Louis area that actually buy just the water-cooled cards, just because, you know, they don't want to have to try to keep things cool, and it actually greatly reduces the amount of heat out of the rig. Because you don't have a lot of open air just blowing heat out. You do have a radiator that needs cooled, but if you're just cooling that one radiator, it's not near as bad as a dual fan or a triple fan, moving a lot of air. Get this thing plugged in. I like getting these plugged in first.
Ideal GPU temps?
I do not like seeing GPUs over 75 Celsius personally. You can run them in the, like the old R9 series, we used to run at 80, no more than 85 Celsius. But I do not like over 70. Depending what kind of build you have, it's kind of hard to do sometimes. You're going to be right at 70, 75. A lot of the Nvidia cards seem to be healthy if they get enough cooling on them, around 69, 70 Celsius. Perfectly normal. Some of the 570s, like the Armor series 570 AMDs, seem to like around 50 or around 70 Celsius, 75 Celsius, just because their cooling that's built onto them kind of sucks. There's no back plate, so you're gonna get that heat up quite a bit.
We're asking about the mineral oil rig again, and I told them that we just keep running into questions and concerns, and the biggest thing is when the oil gets too hot.
It starts to melt the
PVC
PVC tube. So the tubing, it really comes down to just having to remodel the way we're going to do it. The standard home PVC pipes that you have, when you start getting that up to 70 Celsius, it turns into like a 70 and 80 Celsius. It literally starts to turn to liquid. I mean, like
and the glue
spongy.
That connects the pipes.
And the glue that connects the pipes, yeah. I mean, it almost needs to be like kind of a metal loop, which now that's getting expensive, and it's real custom. I mean, maybe if we really, if Ethereum goes to like 500 or something, we'll celebrate by investing into something that we can dump. Or if AMD really genuinely has an issue with the DAG on the Ethereum, and it goes down to like hashing to 15 hashes a second or something, maybe we'll take some 460s and throw them in there. But we got to do that outside because I don't want the mineral oil to spill out. Gotta get the riser plugged in here and troubleshoot this issue. It's gonna be pretty interesting if this ends up being the
If you live in Florida, should you be keeping your air conditioner on 24/7 for 170s or 1070s? Sorry.
I mean, you run your air conditioner predicated on how hot everything is. I would say turn off your air conditioner to just whatever the normal things are and see what happens to your house, to see how hot it gets without running it. I mean, if you're running in the 80s, you're probably going to want to run it. What I'm guessing is it's probably running by default constantly because it's not really able to keep up with the cooling requirements of running a full rig in the house. This basement area we have, when we have like 7 or 8 rigs running, I mean, I got
8,000 BTU air conditioning unit, and it can barely keep up down here with 7 or 8 rigs. What are we missing here? All right, we need a new loop.
I mean, in Florida, you've got humidity concerns as well, right? You don't want your windows open all the time if you've got 98% humidity outside.
Yeah, I mean, humidity does matter. The rigs do not like heavy humidity. I mean, you really want, that's why I keep kind of a meter in here, right? Like right now, it's 79 in here. And
can.
Oh, well, yeah, the little can. Yeah, that's the kind of temps that we're talking in here. I mean, we have the air conditioner unit off right now in here that keeps this area cool down here. And I turned off some of the rigs for the live stream.
Can you cool them too much? I don't think so.
No. You're not going to cool them too much. I mean, so what I would make sure that you don't do is I've had a few people send me pictures where they have like an air vent right over it that's coming right from their air conditioner, and it's blowing very, very cold air. And it actually started to condensate and actually shorted out one of their mining rigs because they had ultra cold air. I'm talking just like they had a really nice air conditioning unit, and they just had it blowing straight onto the cards. And you don't want to blow just straight cold air, especially if you're in higher humidity. So if your humidity is like 55, 60%, you're going to start to get condensation. If you're talking close to 80%, which you shouldn't have 80% inside your house in any capacity, you need a dehumidifier like crazy if you have 80% humidity inside your house. Because like right now it's super, I don't know what the relative humidity in our area is right now, but I know outside it's a heck of a lot more humid. It's probably close to 70% right now.
Your idea of best cards for Zcash right now?
Best cards for Zcash right now, if price isn't an issue, 1080 Ti.
That's what they said in chat too.
Because juiced up, you can almost get 800 megahash out of them.
Yeah, super chat.
That was the Zcash.
Oh, missing this. I stripped out the big rig here, moved some stuff to smaller rig setup. This is kind of our big testing round. I was trying to get this rig prepared for when the 12 GPU board comes in, because I'm actually going to put a couple expanders in there and move that to a full 14 to 16 card rig single board is what my goal is with that. I'm going to put the 12 GPU in the middle of that big rig, and then add some expanders and some M2 drives, and then one of the other adjustments there. Let's get this in here. This big guy plugged in there. Give it a heartbeat.
It's right in front of that camera.
Yeah, I figured it would be. It's gonna go all over. I'm gonna try to get this set up to where this cable is like crazy is what it is. But if I can get this set up in a way, I'm gonna put this guy looking at it. Tell you what, we're gonna set this up like right here. Rip anybody looking at this little camera.
Right.
And then we'll do one of these little numbers.
No, can't see it.
Can't see it?
Lighting's angles are wrong.
Well, whatever. This camera sucks.
Alright.
Doing a big circle. Alright.
Oh, that's a big question.
Well, it all turned on. Plugged everything in. That's good.
Can you read that one? Because I can't read that to make sense.
Let's see. It was another super chat.
Yes. Daniel.
MS drop for 5 days. Claymore only affected miner. You said something a few episodes ago about a rumor being false. Can you elaborate? So, the question for the super chat was the issue with Claymore having the epoch issue with as the epoch level gets to 150, the AMD RX 480, 580, 570, 470, 460, anything pretty much on the Polaris lineup, having a decrease in mega hash when it comes to Ethereum. We had got the email back that I had shared with you guys about a week ago from AMD that was clarifying that some of the larger mining pools, entities, were not experiencing this issue with sgminer. And it was just a Claymore issue. It had to do with this assembler. But looking at some of the folks that are working directly on it, I think there was Wolf Zero and a couple other folks that are on the Bitcoin Talk are saying that they don't know where that information that AMD is getting, because they're still, the limited testing that they have done, it still looks like it's an issue even with the current branch of sgminer that's out there. So I reached back out to AMD on that thread, pointing them back to the Bitcoin Talk thread and said, hey, cool story, bro. However, there's some folks that are pretty well respected in the community and are still saying that this looks like it's an issue. So if you could elaborate if this is a different branch, if this is a non-released branch of sgminer that like Genesis is using, this greatly affects somebody like Genesis, guys. So you can bet, this is kind of using an old quote, you can bet your bottom dollar that there is no doubt that Genesis Mining and AMD are trying to track this issue down and figure out how to fix it for this Polaris line. A lot of the Enigma, which is Genesis Mining's mining in general, is predicated on their initial setup was like 380Xs, and a lot of the newer stuff is we can make an assumption that it's in the Polaris line of the 480Xs and stuff. So having, they were very AMD heavy. So this is a big deal for a lot of people, not just us as like individual miners and the whole community, but people that have contracts with other people with regards to like cloud hashing and stuff, is going to be greatly affected by this. So they're obviously on it with AMD trying to figure this out. And if AMD is saying that they have this figured out in sgminer, then it's a matter of, are they going to release that version? Is this a non-release version? They just kind of said that it was taken care of. We've made the assumption that, well, it's sgminer, but we wanted to validate with you guys, and that's why we said in that video to let the user community try to validate it. We had built a version of sgminer with Ubuntu, but there's no built-in kind of benchmark like there is with Claymore that we have found. So trying to set the epoch level ahead in sgminer right now from just our initial testing is we can't do that. So if there is a person out there that's built something or compiled something to allow that test with sgminer, that'd be great. But I'm still waiting for the feedback from AMD to say, you know, yeah, that's a different branch, we're still working, it's not released yet, and just kind of clarify that. When we get that, we'll send it out to you guys, because it does matter for the folks that are mining Ethereum with their RX cards. Now, that does not affect some of the other coins out there that you can mine with the RX Polaris line. So it will affect ETC. I think it's on a different schedule. I don't know if anybody wants to say what the ETC
current epoch level is. I haven't looked to see what epoch they're on. I guess we could take a look at that real quick. Of when that's going to affect what ETC will also have that issue. But Decred, LBRY, all these other coins do not have this kind of issue. It is just Ethereum. So hopefully that clarified that. I mean, it's just more of an informational update for you guys. Hopefully that answered your question. Is this thing blinking? What's this thing doing? Looks like it's still. It looks like it's setting up cards right now, guys. See a few spinning up. And I don't know why it's. This had changed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, there's all 6 of them there. What are you working on? This might be doing a patch or something. Let's look here. I'm gonna go in.
Is cloud mining a good alternative if I can't expand power in my rental to support more rigs?
I mean, Genesis has, if they have hash power, it's more expensive. It's a tougher bet because now you don't really have the. So you can buy coin. There's really kind of 3 ways to spend your money. You can buy coin, which gives you no hedge, and it's really predicated on the price. It's like buying a stock, and hope that it goes up. You can buy mining equipment, and you have a hedge on the mining equipment. If something goes bad, you can sell the mining equipment. Buying cloud power, you're not getting the coin, and you're hoping that the so you're not getting the coin up front, so you don't get the initial bump if it goes up because you're just cashing it like everybody else, and you lose the hedge of the mining equipment, of owning the mining equipment. You do get the benefit of not having to mess with the mining equipment, like what we just did right here, where I just switched out the power supply. I'm going to test and see if this worked. You don't have any of those headaches. There's something to be said for that, for people that don't want to mess with computers, and have to deal with other kind of issues and stuff. But you having control of the mining equipment allows you to point this anywhere you want to point it to as new coins come out, like the DBIX and other Hush and all these other coins that come out. You have a machine that you can point to those coins and then take immediate action on that and start earning. And there's some power in that of control, because you can control this rig. You tell it, I want to mine that, and now you're mining that, if it's mineable with GPUs. The mining contracts are locked in by and large to the coin or the whatever you're purchasing. I don't think Genesis, I haven't looked at it in a while, if you can repoint to where what you're mining, and you're just buying the contract of amount of hash power, and you can repoint that. I don't remember if they do that, or if I'm thinking of another failed or a different failed mining company. Might have been I forgot the one that failed. That actually wasn't failed. It was a Ponzi, I think. I can't remember it, but you could move your hash around because of it. Well, the way that worked and was easy is you weren't really moving anything. It was just they were moving your money around. But you know, yeah, you can buy, if you want to just buy a contract and you have it for 2 years and it's mines for you. That's an incremental way to get part of the game on mining. If Genesis is out and you're in that same realm, you're just as good buying the coin at that point. What are you doing?
Genesis right now is $28 per mega hash.
$28 per mega. I haven't done the math on that, but that seems high.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Yeah, I mean, you could buy a 980 Ti rig for that rate if you're buying 200 mega hashes. That'd be $4,900. Yeah, I mean, you could buy for like that, for the $5,000 you're going to spend on that, you could build a 980 Ti rig. All right. let's juice this guy up.
How do you stop Windows 10 from updating when you're mining?
You go into your services and turn off your update. So you can go into you start to type services here, or can you switch to the main screen? Oh, you did? Okay. She's on it. And you go down here, once you start services, you go down here to Windows Update, right here. And you say stop. And you say disable. And you say okay. And you no longer are getting Windows updates. Now, if you have a Windows 7 machine, immediately upgrade that to Windows 10. Or make sure you have all your updates, because otherwise you could get like the WannaCry virus, and if you have network shares with that, you've now just compromised your internal home network, and now probably have all your files encrypted. So you do have to pay attention to current virus stuff out there. It is, a lot of people are like, oh, turn off your Windows Update right when you get it. I like to do a full update on all the available updates that are available, then I turn it off, and then I pay attention to making sure that if there's any critical Windows updates that need to happen that actually patch holes that will cause hackers from putting out viruses that will lock up your files on your network. That's a pretty important thing. So if you have a Windows share to like your data drive or something on another computer on a Windows 7 machine that's not patched, and you get one of those viruses, it not only encrypts the local files on that Windows 7 machine, it will encrypt the network files also, no matter what they're on, because most people have, you know, elevated and permissioned access to their share drives, and now you get both encrypted. So you don't want to do that. So that's your PSA for the day, your public service announcement. So let's bump this guy back to, let's see if we can do 700. We're living on the edge. And let's stick with the same thing that kept killing it and see if this thing is power supply. Okay. It's all good, bro. We'll come back to 600. That's what that means. That, or it wasn't, we didn't even try the base. It could have just still not had, needed to reboot because it was setting up some cards earlier. I'm going to leave it at 700, try one more time, see if it dies on me. It just needed a reboot. And we'll see. This is a clone drive. So, I mean, literally I cloned this over from another box. So, I mean, it could be just weirdly unstable, but we'll see. I mean, this is all fresh, brand new equipment. So, and besides the T1600.
The rumors from manufacturers about card availability, wasn't there talk about discounting cards and to start moving more of the Nvidia and such?
For which one I missed? I was not paying attention to anything you were saying.
Oh, thanks. You can do that on every day, but during a feed, you should pay attention. The rumors and such about card availability, GPUs availability this summer. You know, there's talk of them discounting the 1070s and such again, just because they're going to be making more. Yeah,
so I mean, they made a ton of 1070s. Like we were out to Micro Center, they have like a full plethora of 1060s and 1070s, and are actually getting more. Once a lot of these box retailers start showing that, you know, they've limited the sell to like the miners. Like I went out there today, I could only get 2 of these 1070s. They only can sell 2 at a time, otherwise the third one's $10,000. They're not moving inventory right now. Or they're moving inventory. The only way they move inventory is because people are gaming it and going in there and going in there and going in there one right after another. When we're in there, I probably am in there every other week, maybe 2 times a week, depending on that. And then I try to grab 1 or 2 cards at a time now. I'm not wiping out their supply just because we can. I mean, we got to order them online right now at this point. But at some point, I mean, Best Buy was running a special 2 days ago for essentially their base model 1070, which is just the 2-fan, non-super clocked EVGA, and it was $399. It was discounted in store at the barcode for $399 for a 1070. So, and they gave that, I think, a limit 3. So, you know, they are still discounting them. You just got to look around if you're in the States. I mean, check your Best Buys. Their pricing's still not too bad. All right, we're going to leave this at 700 again, and I'm going to try this one more time and see if it's just, if that's what's killing it. Is it just no bueno?
Do you foresee ETH or Zcash ever crashing?
No.
That's helpful.
Which epoch level? So epoch 134 is where the DAG's set to right now for ETC also. No, I don't. I mean, I see a lot of the reports about. So here's the only thing I'll talk to you on crashing and pricing, and I really try to stay out of the pricing piece of it, but I keep getting pulled back into it. If and when, it's not if, it's when, Bitcoin gets its upgrade at the beginning of August, be it SegWit, what is it, UASF, whichever one it ends up being, if there is a hard fork, like a genuine hard fork, and you got miners mining both sides, it's going to set some things into disarray for at least a few days. And then people clear their head. And when I say disarray, it's gonna, it could have some, mix that with probably some people doing some market manipulation to try to drive down the price and buy up cheap coin. What I would say is, if you're in a compromising position, get yourself out of a compromising position before anything happens. But if you're not, as folks say, hold the line. I'm holding the line. We're not selling anything. We believe in the technology. We believe in the long term of this. There's way too much at stake, and not to do with the price of the value of the coin. That infrastructure and genuine changes to the way everything works from supply chain side and all that stuff is going to be changed with this technology. And while it's starting in the private and syndicated chain style right now, it will ultimately have to move to a full public. That's the only way you get real true adoption. If the internet was all just a whole bunch of intranet sites, it would never have worked, right? You need that distribution. You need that trustless kind of exposure to where you don't have to trust anybody. You could just be plugged into a network, you get the ledger, and you verify it yourself. That's essentially what the blockchains and the proof of work lets people do.
They're saying hold the line. I think they want to see you.
That did not like that mining. So it didn't die. So I think it has something to do with it's still holding 300 watts though. Has it dropped it yet? Nope. So I got one GPU that's hanging at that speed. I'm gonna reboot. Restart. It's probably gonna give me a stop code again. So I got one GPU here. I can tell, and I'm gonna tell you guys how I can tell one GPU. So how it froze up and I closed it, you'll still see that I'm still at like 300 watts right now. It's sitting here. It has not released the thread on one of the GPUs. So if you turn off the miner and you go back down to like 80 watts or something,
all the threads are released from the GPUs and everything's good. If you stop your miner and you're still pulling wattage, the card hasn't released its thread. It's not mining anymore, but it's still pulling a lot of, it's trying to process something. And I could tell, so on a hard freeze like that on the actual mining software, it didn't actually boot the computer. So I think we got past that, the mining issue, because that was still set at 700 mega hash, or 700 megahertz, and it did not like hard reboot the computer. So I got a bad power supply on that 1500. I think we've confirmed that officially. Which that one will be going back to Corsair. And I have a few of the 1500 AX 1500s and they worked fine. I just seem to be replacing a lot of the AX series. So what we're going to come down here and do is tone this down a bit.
Let me know when you're ready. Ivan had a super chat that's gone, but I want to read it to you.
Okay, I'm ready.
He would like to build a rig for Zcash. You suggested 1080 Ti's are the preferred if money is not an issue. Is there a specific brand or model that you could recommend, and do you recommend 8 or 11 gig?
I think the 1080 Ti's are only 11 gig. So I don't think I've seen a 1080 Ti that's 8 gig. So it's 11 gig. And then the ones that, the For the Win 3 edition, so the EVGA For the Win 3, I think it's a SSC, the super clock, clocks some of the highest, because you can pretty much bury the megahertz all the way to 1,000, and on the 8-card rig that we did for somebody already, it could handle the 1,000, and it's still stable to this day. It's the only rig that I've had that I've been able to bury the megahertz clock all the way over, and it's stable on all 8 cards. I want to try to get that rig back. I built it and sent it off. I want to try to get that rig back where I can show you guys, because that thing is doing something crazy. It's 39.8 mega hash per card on Ethereum, so it's almost 40 mega hash, pushing 1,000 to it, and it's an 8-card rig. It's sick, and I really needed to take a video of it, and I didn't get a video of it. So I want to bring that back for I can show you guys that. But the For the Win 3s are super good. What was not good for me, and you guys might have some and had a different result, was the Republican Gaming. I actually had one. I couldn't overclock it over more than 300 megahertz without it crashing. So the ROG Strict does not do very well with at least the one that I picked up. It just wasn't. It just didn't do what it needed to do. The MSIs, I do have a couple MSIs, and they're overclocking at 700 and holding. And then I have the 2-fan 1080 Ti super clock EVGAs, and those are holding at 625 on the overclocks. And that gets you about 36.5, 37 mega hash on the Ethereum. And for anybody that's late joining, I don't know, we have a lot more people on here. The point of this episode, guys, is in the description below. What I have up on the screen, let's go throw up on the screen.
Huh?
Throw up on the screen. What I have in the description below is access to this full mining setup with all of these different mining configs here, already pre-filled out for you guys. So Zcash, Pascal coin, like all LBRY, Hush, all of it all pre-filled out. You just change your miner and you change your pool. You can use the ones that are in here. Just be sure to change your address, otherwise you're hashing for me. And here we'll do XMR. Let's try this guy here. Let's do ethmine. Video only.
That's 6 1060s in there. What do you have in?
This is 6 1070s. So we can close this. Again, this is in the description. The 3 different choices there are the whole package with all the mining software here that you see right here. Then the other one is the BAT file, which is, if I open this guy up here, it's just the BAT file that you saw there. And then the raw bat is just the same thing in text file for all the people that are freaked out about, you know, friends don't let friends download binaries. So if you just want to take the bat file and you want to point it to your own mining software, you can do it that way too. Which one's this one for? Oh, this was Pascal. Maybe we should close that thread. I don't want the Pascal, I want the Ethermine. Save. Did not like something there. Ethermine.exe. It's been. So if you guys are doing Ethermine, I noticed a little bug here that I have to put in. Is if you're on this top one here, I forgot this had another path. You got to do a bin here, and then that one will work. I'll fix it in the upload tonight after our piece there. You got to have the right path. So that fixed that. So I will so yeah, this is a 6 card. And what are we running right now? We're running right at 1,000 watts. I could probably get this lower. This is probably about 900 watts if we do some adjusting. So it's almost 200 mega hash. Yeah, so the download, guys, I've seen a few of the questions here. Well, that's running there. We'll do this. I'll kind of explain the way the downloads look. Giving myself a few hits here. Pause. So this is the download, guys, if you're looking on the screen right now. And the full package with the software is right there. And that gives you all the miners and then the bat file. Okay? So that's the thing that matters. It gives you all the miners, and you won't see this or this or this, I don't think, but you'll see just this thing where you can go in here and edit it, and then you can go in here and change your different stuff here. Again, for this, and I'll change it after this video, I'll add the bin there. You got to make sure the path is there. So that's the path to the miners. Each one of these miners that are separated by this, you have the space for the path, which is the subfolder, and then the actual miner that's being used. Then this section is where you're changing your pool information, if you want to change a pool, and then you got to change your address information here. I say try to go to full screen for you can go in there and change some of the stuff, but just kind of follow the kind of setups here. All these syntaxes are made to work, and some of them are dual mining, some are just single, you know, like this gominer. We'll try this one real quick. If I go and click this, get rid of that part there, you delete that REM, you add the REM here, space there. Again, just rewatch this video a few times if you're confused, and see what I'm doing there. You just got to comment out the one, you bring the other one in forward. And these other two links here are just if you want the batch script, and then the text file of the batch script for people that are freaked out about it.
What was the way to go around Chrome not letting you download it?
If Chrome's not letting you download it, go to use Firefox.
No,
Firefox
there
won't
was
stop
something they were saying you could switch in your Chrome to make it work.
I mean, you could probably set some security settings. I wouldn't do that. I would just use Firefox. I wouldn't change any of your Chrome settings. So it looks like this rig is getting almost 10,000 mega hash on just SIA. I think that was just SIA coin. Is that the one I enabled? I'll come in here. Right here, gominer. This is just SIA coin. So this is just mining SIA, not dual mining. It is actually just mining SIA. This rig's getting almost 10,000 mega hash on just SIA. So yeah, this allows you guys, like if something's up with the pool that you're working, or you don't have enough hash power to really get payouts out of Ethereum right now, then you can hedge on some of these other coins and put your hash power to it and actually get real, cryptocurrency at a pretty high rate with some of these other coins. So it looks like I'm getting some offset issue here, error of submitting solution, rejected share. So I probably got kind of I didn't like that overclock on that SIA. I probably have to bring that SIA, that overclock down for SIA. And I think actually SIA, I need to turn up the GPU some too, and I'll take down the...
Which Ethernet and SIA pools did you recommend?
The which one?
Ethernet and SIA, what pools did you...
For ETH and SIA, I think on here I have Nano Pool set up for that one. Again, you can use different pools. You don't have to use Nano Pool. You can come in here and just change the pool. The part of this was just to ensure that you guys had syntax that worked. I wanted to make sure that you had a baseline to start from. So when you're reading the pool that you find that you want to be part of, it'll have an example and it'll say, hey, here's where you need the pool information. So you at least are starting from a baseline that you know that works, and you're just changing those components. I would say if you're ever editing it, if you do edit it, and you just need to re-download it, that's part of the also reason of having that extra bash file out there on the file location. So on the video, you can go back out there, re-download the bat file if it's balled up, and re-put it back in that folder. But this thing is made to allow you to make changes to it, add your wallets in there. You can use exchange wallets. For these coins, some of these coins, and I think I even put in here for Pascal coin. Like I haven't downloaded the wallet for Pascal, so I just put an exchange wallet in there. So you can go out there. There's different exchanges, BitREx, Poloniex. You can go out there and get the exchange wallet, and they actually have. And this is the Pascal setup for an exchange wallet setup. So Pascal you can download. Both from a local mining and a exchange mining. This is the one that's set up for exchange. That's why I put in their exchange address. So then you'll get two different number sets with, if you're grabbing it from an exchange, let's say Poloniex. Poloniex is going to give you two spots, two address types, and then just kind of match up these, just replace them with your own. Give yourself a different worker name right here, and then give yourself your email address that you're using for reference, and then that's all you're changing. If you wanted just to use Nanopool here, you would just change essentially your wallet information, all this stuff just right here is all you'd end up changing. And then you enable that by just coming over here. I'm not going to use this Pascal one because that is for AMD. I try to tag all of them if they're AMD and Nvidia, or if they were Nvidia or just AMD. So like this one for excavator, I can come over here. You only remove this REM for the actual executable thing. So like this string right here is the only one that you hit the remove on. You don't need it. If you remove this one, all it's going to do is post it on the screen. So like if I go, actually do this, and if I remove this one, it's not going to hurt anything. It's just going to post it to the screen as like plain text. We're going to hit, we were using the gominer here. We're going to hit REM here. We're going to space that just to put that back in order. We're going to save this. We're going to come right back here. And all it did is up here is it came up here, if I scroll up here, right here, it says NVIDIA doesn't recognize internal program. It tried to execute that as a command. It didn't know what that was, so it still just worked. You know, it still is going to work. It's just you don't need to unlock that one. So this one's now this one's doing, which one did I undo? This is the excavator for Pascal coin. So this is actually running the CUDA version of Pascal. So now this is getting 3.8 gigahash. So you're actually getting a gigahash out of this machine. And this uses less energy too. So you can see 580. Oh, there's 800. There's 900. Not using as much as the 1,000, but 900 watts. And we're getting 5 gigahash now out of this thing. And I have a few people ask me to try library coin, so we'll let that one try. So if I close that out, it'll dump all those threads. I can come back in here. I'll come back down. I'll hit. We want to put the REM in front of this. All this is doing is removing it from the execution path. So we're going to come back here, REM, space through that. We're going to go and let's go up to, I think I have just library. Let me look here.
They want this for Linux.
They want this for Linux? I was going to ask you if you guys really, really wanted me to go through the effort to put this on Linux. So here's library coin just for Nvidia. So this is using CCMiner's 2.0 release. So if I uncheck that and save it and come back in here and then run this. Now this is just going to run library. So there it is. We're using coinmine.pl. And this is going to do all the GPUs. And it looks like they're almost all 300 megahash. # is for if you're using Linux VI, you comment things out like that. A # here will try to execute. So you need to do REM, that's Windows batch file. So you can't do a #. If you're in Linux, you use a #. So this machine's getting 1,700 on library, almost 1,600, 1,700, something like that. Now we can check to see is the same efficiency with like, we can close this out and then we can come back in here and we can check ETH plus that. Let's do that. We'll come back down here. Where was that at? Right here. Now, so there's no real order to this. I mean, I will probably come back in and rearrange this and probably drive you all nuts and try to put them in an order, like all the Ethereum, all the ETC, all the Zcash. And as we add other coins, again, for the folks that were not on the first part of this that won't maybe go back and look, you guys need to post on this video tonight. Give us, if you see somebody that says like DBIX, like the DBIX, and that's the next coin you want me to have added to this on another release. If you see somebody post that, add DBIX, put a thumbs up on it. And I'm going to take all those ones, I'm going to take like the top 3 or 4 that you guys want to see in here, like Feather Coin, any of the NeoScript stuff, any other coins in there, we'll add those to this and we'll put out versions of this. We can consider this version 1, I'll put a different version out of this batch file and we'll keep it updated with some of the newer coins. That way it kind of becomes the go-to spot for having all your coins. So just go out there and give a thumbs up on if somebody posts a new coin that they want to have added to it, and then we'll get it working, and then add the miner to the package, and then you'll get the package downloaded. Let's see here. Let's do library with Ethereum. I think I have it up here. Here we go. Library and Ethereum. We'll just remove this one. Let that one come over.
We're approaching the 2-hour mark.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up at we'll just wrap it up in the next 10 minutes, guys. We're hitting 2 hours on this. I'm just letting you guys show that, see that here's library and Ethereum. I'm glad we were able to get this rig working now. It's unfortunate that AX 1500 needs to be sent out.
They're like, please Linux.
Yeah.
They threw you $5. Please Linux.
There you go. Yeah, look at the difference there. That's a huge difference. So library with dual mining is only getting 160 mega hash across all these cards. I mean, you're still getting 170 mega hash on Ethereum, but I mean, we were getting 1600 library. So it's a 10 factor times slower if just doing library. So 169, 162 with the Nvidia cards. So while you're mining just a little bit there, if you went full out on dedicating the entire GPU to just doing library, it was about 10 times faster than that.
Is there a wallet that supports multiple coins?
Yes, that's like your Jax mobile wallet. You have a whole bunch of different coins that you like. We mine to a lot of our Jax wallet on our phone, so the address is in there. You can use. People don't like a lot of using the Jax wallet because the address has a whole bunch of nested other addresses in there with it. So sometimes you don't see your original address in there because it's using a referrer address. But I like using Jax for some of the coins, but it doesn't have like library and a couple of the other stuff. So using the exchange or downloading like library client and having a local wallet, I mean, you can do that. But a lot of people just go straight to the exchange. It's just if you start amassing a lot of it, you know, you're going to want to take some of it offline. So you need to set up a local wallet, you know, and then do a paper copy of it, keep it offline.
Can you show the power on this?
Yeah, let me get. Well, I'll just let library and ETH run again. Or here, let me do this. I'm gonna try to close this one out. I'm gonna do like XMR or something. What haven't we not tried on this yet? We've done about everything. SIA coin. Let's do Nvidia Xmr. I have not added Genoil's miner. We will add Genoil's on there.
Okay, now switch to the power.
So XMR is not using much right now. We'll see when it spins up.
Angles.
How's it now?
Yeah.
500 watts. I'm not seeing it moving though. Hold on. I need to probably adjust the amount on XMR for these Nvidia cards. Some of it may need some tweaking, like the XMR may need some tweaking on the actual output and intensity. Let's do ETH and SIA. Oh, REM. Must have picked up a REM in there. REM, where's REM?
It's that under SIA.
George is asking, what's the internet consumption implications when you're mining?
Not much, but if we switch off this, here, let's let this come up for a second, and I'll look at the power again, consumption on this. If we switch off this, I'll bring up the detail in the routing.
Do what? Do you want?
She said having Ethernet issues when running EthOS, run similar issues. Windows runs fine. I have not ran into any issues with EthOS. I can do a test and see if we run into an issue though with that super chat. Let's make sure we document that. You write that on that board right there to the right. Just EthOS and Ethernet test, because I can do that pretty quick on these Z270 boards. We'll take a look and do make a note to mention that on the next live stream. EthOS Ethernet test. We'll test it with a couple different rigs configurations. So yeah, here's the power consumption right now with the dual mining on these cards, these MSI cards. So 1,050 watts right now. And it looks like a 174. So these are almost 30 mega hash. They take a small hit. And 1700 SIA. Yeah, you need to use Firefox if it's stopping you in Chrome. And once you unzip that, you're just going to see this. And then just go in there and make changes to your mining pools. And then all the miners should be in there. And I'll make some updates. I saw a few updates I need to already make in there. I'll make a patch to that tonight. And then I'll re-upload the link. I'll make sure that I'm putting, if I made changes to that original Firefox, I guess I'll use Edge. I'll put in there if I've made changes to it. That way you guys have some kind of change history on there to see if you've downloaded. We'll consider this version 1.0.
Did you see the other one?
No, what's that?
I'm concerned if people can't figure out how to download a link. Mining is so much more complex.
Yeah, well, there is a little. I'm trying to make it simple, guys. But I think we'll get close and wrap this up, guys. If you guys did a super chat and I didn't answer it, just shoot me an email. And I think and she was on it. Miss BBT was all over it, trying to make sure I was catching those for you guys. We really appreciate that. We'll have some, we're targeting for Sunday to have another live stream. I'm going to put out there on Twitter and stuff in that live stream. We're going to do that giveaway I talked about. So if you guys are watching this, we are going to give a special code to an email. So you'll get the code during the live stream. You're going to email your name to that. And what we're going to do is parse that entire list of the email that we give you guys in that live stream. So the email and the code are going to be part of that live stream. We will correlate those during the live stream and then actually use a randomizer item there and do kind of a free raffle. You know, no participation needed. And we're going to be giving you guys a RX 480 4 gig. So this is really to bring awareness to the channel, bring awareness to folks, so you start spreading that around. I'm going to start tweeting it like crazy and dropping it on different videos and stuff running up to Sunday evening. And this is a, no kidding, somebody on this channel. And this is open to worldwide, guys. I mean, I will ship this as my friend from wherever.
So you'll be getting it from your family member here in the States. And there it is. Perfectly clean and new. So, I mean, it's in really, really good shape. There's no dust on that. And switch to the mini cam. I mean, there is not a morsel of dust on this thing. This thing is brand new, guys. I took it out of the plastic wrap. We were going to use it, and I already had a 8-card rig of these. This was going to be a 9th, and I just didn't have enough room for it. We'd have had to rebuild the rig. So this was a fresh, brand new card, never used.
Give us 5. Right.
Give you 5. We're going to start with 1, and as our budget gets bigger, maybe we'll do a full rig sometime in our life. But it's going to have to get pretty big. Maybe if Ethereum hits Bitcoin parity, maybe we'll celebrate by giving a rig away. But that is going to be given out, and what we'll do is we'll give that code out and spread the news, let people know on the forums. We're gonna try to get a lot of people in this this live stream, this next live stream for that. So we'll be giving that away. It's a 4 gig model, guys. Sorry, it's not the 8 gig. You can switch it back to the main. Yeah, you did. And then depending on how well that goes, maybe we'll scale it up, and maybe there'll be a 1070 or something in the future. So again, it's just to bring awareness to the channel, bring awareness to people to our what we're trying to do for the community and grow the community, and what better than give people free stuff. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. Thanks for joining the stream. Catch this after, and just take a look at this video's description. I'm also going to post this out on the website. That way they're both kind of succinct. That way you don't forget which video this was in and whatever. It'll be out there on bitsbytrippin.com. Check the Discord channels out there on bitsbytrippin.com. Join that, and we're also going to make a steemit post. I ask all 260 of you guys out there, take a few seconds out of your life, go out there to steemit. Follow us on there. We're going to try to put some more comprehensive detail onto this video out there. I'm going to start making blog posts. All the blog posts that we're going to make are going to be out there on steemit. So give us a like, a thumbs up. You can thumbs down if you want some other content, but make a comment down there, contribute. Check us out on there, and help us grow that channel too, or that medium for us. I mean, just you guys giving a thumbs up and all that stuff helps out a lot. You know, again, we're going to try to bring more of this stuff to you guys for free. So that's a way for you guys to kind of come back in and help us out and compensate just by a mechanism of using it. So check us out on steemit. We're at bitsbytrippin, and you know, stay tuned. There's some real cool stuff coming up, guys. I can't wait to bring it to you.